Right, well, 2018, before coronavirus, right? So we started then. In May, I would imagine that's when I got it. So I think I got it in 2018. So the plans were done. So Carly had probably been working on it a year before then, I would imagine. And you know, Carly had some great ideas, and the one thing that I remember her saying is, "I want to live off the grid." That was, and Carly's always told me that. I mean, we've known each other forever. So that was her goal. So as we're going into this project, I'm thinking, okay, how can we produce a product for Carly within the framework of what was designed where she can accomplish that? So we talked about doing a lot of things from aerated block, which is an all block home, to geothermal for the HVAC system, to all electric and solar. And I loved it because, again, it's something different. It's something not everybody does. So I was able to do a lot of exploration on these products and things that I already knew about, but I really was able to dig in deep. So we started there, and doing a project like that is expensive. So the costs were a little bit higher than where we wanted, and then we priced it again, and we value engineered it, and the architect did a little bit of redesign, and then coronavirus hit, and we had to put a stop to things at that point. I mean, for Carly, just the business that she's in, it was impacted. She was impacted by this. During that time, we talked about how can we accomplish what Carly wants within a budget that made sense. Come 2022, we ended up with something that I think is amazing and probably can live off the grid, probably really close to living off the grid. Didn't do geothermal, didn't do the block, but really did everything else. We ended up with a traditional envelope, more of a traditional construction, which would be stick framing or stick built wood framing, rather than doing an air-rated block, which is a lightweight. As a matter of fact, I have a sample. I just happen to have a sample right here. This is a lightweight block, very, very light, not like concrete, not like a concrete masonry or CMU, otherwise known as concrete masonry unit. That's a heavier block. This is lighter weight. It's got great insulation properties. And we ended up not going that route just because it was cost prohibitive. I mean, we would have loved to, it would have been great, but it was increasing the cost, the cost of the home, where it just didn't make sense. But I learned a lot about it, and you know, hope to do it one day, not on this project, but it being a structural foundation means that when you build it, you use a heavier duty steel or rebar in the foundation, and you put cardboard forms. You pour the piers, you dig beams, and you use heavy steel in the beams, and then you put cardboard forms and then you pour your concrete. The idea is that eventually the cardboard forms will disintegrate, and the home will be sitting solely on the footings with the rebar and piers that are all tied together. And those piers were poured to a depth that they're on stable soil, and that was determined by the soils engineer and by the soils report that was done, and the engineer that designed the foundation. So as we're going through this process, and as these ideas come up, and we're pricing some of these different ideas as we're going along, me understanding what's important, I can help direct and look at just different costs of things, and maybe help direct, okay, this is the cost of this. I know this is important to you. Maybe it's something to not change. because this is important and it's something you can't change later, or is going to be difficult to change later. So it's just about looking at, because as we're going along in this process, it can be very fluid. Although the design was developed and we have a great interior designer, it's still fluid. I mean, ideas are always flowing. Carly's seeing things maybe from travel, and or just looking on different websites and social media and just getting a lot of different ideas. So these things are coming, and hey, what would it cost if we did this? And what would it cost if we did that? And all those things help create the moment. So for me, it's important to understand what's important. Let me get some of these ideas and things priced so that I can help Carly decide what moment is important. How does this cost affect that idea or that vision or that space?